Hi, and welcome to the WidowsSpeak. This is Dr. Phyllis Edwards. You can call me Dr. E, Phyllis, whatever you want. At one point and soon, we're going to have a time where you can call in or you can type in and send us a message, and we're hoping that we can kind of have a conversation with you because this is being done for you. I'm hoping that some widows are following us. We're really getting into our episodes now. We've done a number of things. Coming up soon, we're going to have a lawyer, a financial person, and we're going to have a couple of authors who have, written about loss and about, how they dealt with it and how they are or have moved on. But we also get some very, very interesting folks in here. The reason why I asked them, and this is the case for today with Brian Stevens, is because I am really appreciative of people that see a need and meet that need or try to meet that need themselves. And a lot of people don't do that. They just see, this isn't going well. This is a hole. I wish somebody would do something. But honestly, I really believe we're put on this earth for a purpose. And that purpose may be just to come in contact with one other person, one other soul. And, maybe our job, and we don't really know, is to help that person through their journey. But I am always, again, grateful for people that really do see a need and then decide they're going to pitch in and do something. And I also want to thank Flagler Voice, because when I came and I talked to him about, widows and how many of us there are and the things that I found, that people were really suffering with, and that this was a pretty underrepresented group, they were really willing to step in and see this as a public service. And so I'm extremely, extremely grateful for that. So as I introduce Brian, I find his bio extremely fascinating. He's a young man. He's only 58 years old, graduated from the University of Massachusetts, great school. He raced motorcycles basically in all of the entire United States. I'm just fascinated by this, that he had so much just spirit and adventure to what he liked to do. He lived in Los Angeles, Colorado, Maui. Oh my gosh. I've never even been to those places. And I asked him one time when we were talking, what was your favorite place to live? And I think you told me California.
Yeah.
That you thought it was the most,
in Hawaii,
the most
Alaska.
beautiful. Yeah, in Alaska.
Go into the ocean.
Yeah, and you took a ship, a boat, and moved it from where? Greece all the way through?
To Holland, via Italy and France and Spain and Morocco and Portugal.
I can't even imagine, even just, first of all, the adventure of doing that, but then going through all those places. And then you also, what did you do? Fish or can fish or something?
Canned salmon.
Yeah.
Catch a can Alaska to make money for flight school.
Who does this? Okay, so to make money for flight school. So there again. Okay, so then you went to flight school in Fort Lauderdale.
Right.
And then you became, first of all, a commercial pilot, or no?
First, I was a flight instructor.
Flight instructor.
I flew freight out of Miami. And then I flew for a commuter airline and then a couple major airlines.
Yeah. So, with all of that, I just can't imagine. So, in your family, just backstory, coming up, what was it like? Because how do your parents raise you to be that adventurous?
I'm the youngest of three, and my older siblings also traveled a lot, too. My sister's 5 years older, and my brother's 3 years older.
Okay.
And they pioneered the way.
And your sister was also very adventurous.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think that's amazing. That's just great. So you must have learned an awful lot from being in those different places and doing those different jobs. And how did you figure out that you wanted to actually be a pilot?
When I was a kid, I saw airplanes landing in Hartford, Connecticut.
In Connecticut.
I said, I want to do that when I grow up.
And that's what you stuck with?
Yes.
That happened to me too. I was 9 years old when I had this teacher that I just absolutely loved. I never forgot her name, and her name is Miss Tippett. And she found me special in some way, and I said, I want to be a teacher. And that was it. That set me off onto education. But so you moved to Palm Coast. What year was that?
2003.
2003.
Here to teach at a local university of a jet simulator.
Okay. Was that like Embry-Riddle or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. One of the best, right? And then you've had some, great loss in your life, right? And I know you haven't experienced, losing altogether a spouse, but you did have a divorce, and that's painful.
Sure. In 2009, we were divorced, and if your spouse dies, it's difficult.
Yeah.
But it's not a choice.
Right.
Divorce is a choice.
That's true.
Not mine, but
right.
It's more. Well, they're both painful.
Very. Yes.
Yeah.
But in your case, not yours, and you have children as well, right?
Yes, I've got daughters that are 23 and 28.
Wow. Yeah. So in your case, it wasn't your choice. So that's an extra loss because it hurts. I mean, it's like, what happened? Everything's going well. We have kids and everything. So did you feel that kind of, like as a man, do you feel the same way? Like we always think, well, what did we do? You know what I mean? Like if I had done this, if I had done that. Even with, I don't know how other widows feel, but even as you say, you don't have a choice, but even after somebody passes, you second guess.
Sure.
What if I had done this? What if I had done that? What if I had tried to say this? Would that have made it different? I find men very different in that respect. I don't know if you had those same kind of.
Yeah, I think that's normal. Everybody does that.
Yeah, second guess it and
Sure.
say, what could I have done differently or something like that?
Or better.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're human. I mean, right?
Right.
We all make mistakes. We can always do better. So in the beginning, how did you, because I'm struggling with this. How did you figure, like, how did you make your life work? Like, you're upset. You're really down. Your schedules are off. Everything's different. Like, what did you do to kind of get yourself together and fill your
Moved to the
time?
intercoastal. That helped.
Okay.
And I was thinking about that yesterday. My neighbor was complaining about her grass.
Uh-huh.
And I said, right when I was getting divorced, in the middle of it, I said, I wish grass was my biggest problem.
Exactly. Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you say move to the intercoastal, why? You love nature,
Well, I had
boats?
a friend that owned a house that was empty,
Oh, okay.
and he said move there, and it was very therapeutic.
Very nice.
Nature is very healing. You watch dolphins go by and
That's
boats.
true.
And, yeah.
It's
I had a sailboat, so I used that.
so there again, I'm not sure I believe in coincidences, but so you had a friend, your friend shows up like whether in person or not at just the right time and says, hey, I've got this house.
Yeah.
And it's just the perfect time for you. And so obviously I think to me that says that, God is watching out for you,
Yes.
right? Put you in the right place. I think it's true. It's very hard to be even on the beach and watching the waves and still, be very, very upset because it does something to you,
Yeah.
Maybe it makes you realize your insignificance, the bigness of God, I don't know, but it does really make a difference.
Yeah.
So that helped you. So and you're Catholic and you're very involved in the church. And I've heard, I don't know you very well. The first time I met you was going to one of the things that you championed, you started. So that is what I'd like to focus on next. So tell me about when you began, which I think is your ministry in a way, when you began that and why did you begin it and what are you doing with it?
My dad died in 2015, and my mother was remarried within 14 months. They were married for 50 years.
Wow.
And she met her husband at church in
Mm-hmm.
Naples. And so I've been looking at church to find a spouse.
Sure.
My next spouse will be godly,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully Catholic, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
So to find somebody in church, you have to be involved in ministries. And so I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I started a Catholic singles ministry a year ago with a group of friends.
Right.
And so we meet on the first Monday of every month from 4 to 6 p.m. at Santa Maria del Mar Catholic Church in Flagler Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we all introduce ourselves. There's
Right.
new people coming and going from
Right.
4 different churches. And then we eat and fellowship,
Mm-hmm.
then play dominoes and have fun and laugh and get to know each other. That's important.
It's very important.
Mhm.
And I think you forget that.
Yeah.
And that's how I met you. I went to one of the first ones for me, and I debated it. I was like, I don't know, I've never done this before. But I think I said to you before, just walking in those doors was really hard for me. But the people were very nice, very welcoming. I guess there's a lot of other stuff that goes on there. Like, isn't there over 100 people that get fed or come in?
400. Yeah,
400.
that's every Monday.
See, that's another part to that. Yeah, and that's every Monday, and a lot of those folks will come in and pick something up and then leave.
Mm-hmm.
It always makes me wonder if those people are alone as well. But at any rate, coming into what you were doing, I found everybody to be very welcoming, no pressure, just a bunch of people. I think at that time there might have been like 15 that were just like me, might have been just looking for company conversation. People were, I sat next to a nice lady, her Melody, and I sat next to a gentleman, a very nice guy, and we just were able to talk. And, when you're newly widowed, and you probably experienced a lot of this, you're just basically a lot of downtime, a lot of quiet. And my background is not one that is used to quiet, so it's difficult, but at least it was kind enough and welcoming enough that I did not feel really uncomfortable, and I came back another time. I didn't stay for the games. I think somebody forgot to bring the games that day, but it's nice that you do that, because you don't do that much, even as you get older. So tell us about, you're looking for somebody, you're ready, you'd like to be with somebody. You're not looking to remain like a bachelor
Right.
the rest of your life. So that must have provided in your mind like something like, look, this is what I want to do, and I'm trying to figure out how to meet the right person. So instead of just sitting there, you did something about it. When you say you got involved in ministry, like what other things do you also do? Because it seems like you volunteer and you do things quite a bit.
Every 6 weeks, I volunteer at that dinner, the community supper.
Yeah.
And one of the guys that's instrumental in that ministry said that he met his wife in a Catholic singles ministry up in Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay.
So he gave me a folder of some information on how to do that, and I just followed the recipe.
Kind of showed you how, like
Yeah.
what it was about, and I think that both those people, the couple, work there, right?
Right.
Which is very sweet. They're still doing it. They're still giving back.
Right. They're very involved in the church too.
So then you decided, I'm going to do this. And so what's been your experience? What have you noticed? I noticed a lot of people introduce themselves. Some of them came with friends, some of them came separate. And then like me, you sort of start talking to the person next to you, because that's how it's set up. What do you notice? Do you notice like people coming back often, or do you notice the opposite? What's your perception of it?
Well, we have generally 12 people. Sometimes it's as much as 20. Sometimes it's as few as 4, but generally between 10 and 20. And like you said, it takes a lot of courage to even decide to come to that.
It does, really, it
And I
does.
think that, dating is even more, people are scared of that. But
These
at
days.
a minimum, you
Yeah.
can make friends there.
That's right. I agree
So,
with you,
uh,
and it's safe.
Yeah, the person that you sat next to me yesterday at a Bible study,
Uh-huh.
gospel study.
Uh-huh.
So we're friends now.
Yes, exactly.
And I know her from St. Joe's Carmelite Monastery.
Yes, I know that she goes there.
And so by getting out like that, we meet
Yes,
people.
yes. Well, if
So
you don't get out of yourself, out of your cocoon,
living
yeah, you're
away
not
from the computer.
you're not gonna, or whatever your thing is, you're not gonna expand your world at all if
Right.
you don't. But I do find, in talking to people, that there are a lot of people, a lot of women anyway, that they're afraid, they don't want to do it. They're just scared. So, did you pursue the online Christian dating
Yes.
thing? What was that like?
Catholic match. I have a date this afternoon.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, good.
So that's good because we have common interests,
Yes,
right?
of course.
And she's very involved in her faith,
Good.
and we have that in common, which is important.
Right. But some of the other ones you told me once before, the sites that you were like, this isn't so great.
Right.
What did you find out about some of those? You don't have to say their names.
Well, on the secular sites, dating websites, it's tough to find
Mm-hmm.
God-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
And I put in my profile that's
That's what
number
you're,
one,
yeah,
right, which is a filter.
That's
The
a good-
people that answer me are also
are serious about it.
right.
Yeah. But you're right. That could be a filter. That could be off-putting for some people. They're not interested maybe in that. But for somebody that is, you've put it out there. That's your number one priority. I think, it's really hard for people to meet people these days. I can't, I mean, if you don't meet during your work life, and you don't meet during church or something like that, then, or say a friend, a friend knows a friend and they kind of set you up or something. I think it's really pretty scary because you could get on a Christian site and say you were this or that. You don't have to be. You could be completely different.
Yeah. After our gospel study yesterday, there's a bereavement ministry
Uh-huh.
at the church at the beach, the Catholic church.
Yes.
And I have a friend whose wife of 50 years died on the 29th last year. And I keep trying to get him to come to a
Yeah.
religious bereavement group
Right.
because he's going to a secular one.
Is he?
And he says that's tough because he leaves more down than when he showed up. And the religious bereavement groups give hope.
Yeah. It's tough. It really is. I did both. I probably did not give the bereavement group at the church. I think I didn't go enough. I only went like 3 times. There were so many people in it that I think it was very new. So I think I couldn't manage that much grief with having as much as I did myself. And still do. You don't just say, snap your fingers and go, oh, that's done. No, it's not like that. Especially well, maybe it doesn't matter. Mine is 50 years, his is 50 years. That's a long time. That's your whole life and growing up together, if you will. So
Well, you still have a little life. We still have a little life.
yeah,
left in
well,
us.
you wouldn't, that's what I try to tell myself, and it's like, you're here. You're here. God has a reason. What are you going to do? But I did also do a private one, and that was good too because it was individual. So, it was more, you could talk more, you could have more of a one-on-one. But to be honest, it's difficult to do that too because, you've got to, I just finished like 6 or 7 sessions, and the longer you go, the harder the assignments are. And some of them really kind of test you. So you think that the bereavement groups are the Christian one is really more, it gives hope because it references things that are like God says. I have beauty for ashes, and I'm close to the brokenhearted, and that kind of thing. That gives hope.
Yeah, and the hope that your spouse is in heaven rather than just dying and that's it.
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely believe that. That's the truth. Yeah, there's no doubt about that to me. But Yeah, that's I'm sure an issue for, some people.
Mhm.
What kind of, so what does your friend say when you say, maybe this is a good thing? Why don't you try to come?
He's really focused on grief
Hmm.
for a year.
For a
He
year.
goes to the grave and will spend 2 or 3 hours there.
Wow. He's talking
And
to her.
yeah,
Hmm.
but you have to get out and heal. Um, it's important to grieve for a while, but grieving in a group, I think I haven't done that, but
No.
it seems like it could be healing.
I think that it is. I think that some of it, for instance, could be more beneficial if the people themselves, the ones that have lost folks, instead of just being all together, say there's 15 of you, if you could partner a little bit. And I just see this as a group skill, and it just helps to break that up, because it's hard when you're going around the room and you're going to 15 individual people. And whereas if you could do the same exercise and kind of break up and then maybe move to another person, because that would provide you with some connection.
Yeah.
I don't know how
meet
you.
outside a bereavement group and go to lunch too. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
that would be great. But you also have to have the opportunity to exchange, your phone numbers and
Mhm.
have a connection with that person, which,
Right.
not everybody has a connection with everybody else,
Well, if you show
right?
up 20 minutes early and stay 20 minutes late, you can swap numbers and,
Yeah,
make friends or
right.
go out for coffee or something like that.
So that works, I think. Does that work for men? Do they do that? Do they say, hey, you want to go get a cup of coffee? You want to go get a beer? What do they do? I don't know.
I think, I do.
Yeah.
And I think the greatest fear for men is rejection, that the woman might say no.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for women, their greatest fear might be safety.
Yes,
Or,
that's a big one.
yeah. Mhm. So it's
Yeah.
difficult.
Well, I look at the statistics. The statistics are there. And I don't know about as much with the divorce, but with marriage, I think it's something like 80 something percent of women say, they're not going to get married again. And men, it's about like in the 20s. And most men are married within 2 years, whereas women are not. And of course, there's an age difference there. So you usually have more widows than you have widowers, because most men marry younger, and that happens. And the women sometimes, most times, outlive the men,
Right.
right?
And so in
So
our group,
you have
there might
differences
be,
there.
12 women and 6 guys or something like that.
Yeah, that's
Again,
actually
it's
not
not
as
just all
bad.
about dating. It's about making
It's
friends.
about making friends. Yes,
There's a place where the women who have lost their husbands can make good friends.
yes, and that support group is really crucial.
Yeah.
I have one or two friends in different places that they have girlfriends that they've had for years and years and years. So they have that natural support group, and they walk together, and that's really important. A lot of times, and I don't know if you found this, but being in Florida, which is weird because Florida's outdoors and, stuff like that. But a lot of people tend to stay in their house. Have you noticed that?
If it's 96 degrees
They're like,
out,
I'm
it's
not
nice in
going
the house,
out.
or it's 75
I'm not
degrees.
going out to meet somebody. I'm going to stay here. And, I'm just not a TV person. So, I'm out a lot. I walk my dog. But everything you do silently and basically by yourself,
I think women do a lot better when their spouse dies because you have more friends. A lot of guys don't have any friends, or just one.
Mm-hmm.
And so with my friend whose spouse died after 50 years, I just listen a lot.
Yes, that's very important.
Yeah.
That's great that you do that, because, yeah, you really do need to talk about it. And there's a lot of people that they just don't want to talk about it. They just don't want it. They don't want to have any of those kinds of conversations. at all. I don't know. You know, maybe it brings it too close to home. You know, hey, we've all got this mortality. This is going to hit every single one of us at some point, and you know, they're just not interested in having those conversations. But everybody's different, but I think that's great that you're doing that, you know, for your friend. And you also do, I know you lead groups as well, don't you, for religious purposes?
The Lectio Divina is a gospel study. We did
Okay.
that yesterday.
Yesterday.
After Mass.
And that's where okay.
Mhm.
I think that's really great that you're involved that much. And what other kind of things do you find that you do, like outside of the church, and
Play hockey.
play hockey?
Play pickleball.
Really? Oh, pickleball is
I went
real.
skiing in March in
Okay.
Innsbruck, Austria. So I
Oh
like
my
to be
goodness.
active.
Yes, that's very active.
Yeah.
Where do you play hockey?
In South Daytona, US 1 at the Sunshine Plaza.
Oh, okay.
It's about a mile north of Dunlawton at Port Orange and a couple miles south of Bevel.
Did you know how to do that before, or did you
I've
just,
been playing since I was
since you were a kid?
3.
Yeah.
I learned
From,
to skate when I was 3 and picked up a stick when I was 5.
were you born in where? Connecticut?
Springfield, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Okay.
They used to have frozen ice outside there.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore.
Not so much.
Yeah.
It's different now. Well, I just want to say thank you
You're welcome.
from me, from those that are taking advantage of what you have done. And I hope that other people will get kind of inspired by you and maybe pick up the mantle, because, you know, if you can do something where you see a need, then other people can do something. And if all of us just do one thing, that really helps a great deal. So I want to say thank you to you.
You're welcome.
I wish you a lot of luck today, and we'll look forward to hearing, and I hope to see you at the next event that you host.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for being with us. Remember, beauty for ashes. God is close to the brokenhearted. This is Phyllis Edwards. See you next time.